So, I posted a little controversial thing on my Instagram saying, what exactly did I say on my Instagram? Let me look over here. The exact quote I said, if you can't afford it at full price, you shouldn't be excited to buy it at a discount. That's what I said on my Instagram over here. So, if you want to see me fall on a skateboard and stuff like that, but once in a while I post something controversial on my Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. Shameless plug. Go follow me there if you're not already. You should have already by now. But I posted a little controversial thing about Black Friday, and I want to go into detail about it with some stats and some reasons why I think Black Friday is a complete, utter scam. Some people didn't like that. They've made some comments. You can see there's only 66 likes, 18 comments. Some of them agree with me, some of them don't agree with me. Go check it out and make your voice heard over there if you would like. Uh, but I still, rather than apologize for saying that, I would like to double down and make an entire YouTube video on it. So if I ruffled your feathers, I'm going to ruffle them even further in this video. So I do not apologize, and I will double down that I think Black Friday is a scam. So why do I think Black Friday is a complete scam? Let me go back here. I personally have the bias as a libertarian. I also believe in free market capitalism. So those are my biases. And under specifically in an Austrian type economics model and with libertarian principles in a free market capitalistic structure, Black Friday would be every day. Do people not understand that? Competition is Black Friday. When you have multiple companies that create the same product, their goal is to make it cost less and be a better product than their competitor. So we need a single day of the year, specifically after Thanksgiving, when everybody's in a very good mood of eating all and getting this big feast, and they're going to go out and buy a bunch of stuff, right? I think it's a blatant scam because in free market capitalism, whoever has the best price for the best product will win. That's it. So what is there? Why is there a need for a Black Friday in that structure? There wouldn't be. There shouldn't be. What really Black Friday is a way for people to line up to be consumers, to buy a TV for 25% off that's going to be outdated next year when they come out with the next lineup because they need to dump the inventory in the back of the warehouse, and they want to get rid of it, and they want to sell it to you before Christmas and before the new year rolls out for the next coming year or for the new product. That's really what it comes down to with Black Friday. They're really just getting rid of their old inventory. And so when I write something like that on my Instagram saying if you can't afford it at the price at its regular price, then you shouldn't be excited to buy it on a discount because you couldn't afford it in the first place. What, because the shoes went from 100 to 85? That's now it's a good idea to buy it? I got some bridges to sell you. They're 15% off. It kind of blows my mind that people don't understand that it's a complete scam. And I've never participated in Black Friday. I value my time, I value my patience, and I don't want to get in line somewhere to get 20% off that should have been 20% off in the first place because under free market capitalism, it should be at the right price. In Austrian economics and in free market capitalism, the right price is the price it's listed at. And if it's not at the right price it's listed at, then it won't sell because it's not worth the price that it's listed at. So everybody, they've got this fiat, like I couldn't come up with a more fiat holiday than Black Friday. That is the most fiat holiday ever. You want to know why I know it's a fiat holiday? Let me go over here as well. Let's go back over here. And by the way, yeah, if you want to see me fall on a skateboard or pull off a trick or whatever on a skateboard, that's what I've been doing lately, just so you know that I'm still a kid. Let me go. So Black Friday, let's see here. First, what are the types of things that are first front page on Google on Black Friday? Let's see some front page Google stuff here. Black Friday stuff. You see some tech stuff. You see some pans. You see Best Buy usually. Oh, Best Buy loves taking advantage of Black Friday, don't they? All the last year's tech products that they can just get out of the back of the warehouse. Oh, thank God some individuals want to buy these TVs that are going to be outdated in 3 months. Of course, Best Buy's all over it, right? So basically, I just wanted to go over the first front page here before I get into my main points. But the next point I wanted to get over here. Let's go to credit card debt statistics. This is the main chart I wanted to show some individuals here. This is how much debt in credit cards, total outstanding credit card balances, 1999 to present. We're up to nearly $1 trillion in outstanding credit card balances. The only thing worse than outstanding credit card balances are the, I want to put it in a nice word, indoctrinated fools that go to college. They got themselves more into debt than the people with credit cards. They're the only ones who are more foolish. That was a nice way to say it, right? Indoctrinated fools. I think that's nice. That's about right. But yeah, they're the only ones worse at creating debt than the individuals with credit card balances right now. So when we have record credit card balances, we have record inflation levels coming up. Great time to have a Black Friday sale, right? It's at a discount. You can get a pair of Nikes, from $50, from $100, $120 down to $80. Wow. You should definitely buy them. Now, when I'm talking about like Black Friday being a blatant scam, if you the intention is not to be mean, it's not to ruffle people's feathers. Nah, it is. I like doing that. But the truth is, I actually want to help people. And if you're gonna go spend money on Black Friday, at least spend it on things that are to better yourself. Spend it on some sort of package to learn something, some sort of knowledge, something like that. Some of these places that have, programs, teaching programs online, things like that, they might have a Black Friday sale. That makes sense. That's a good thing. But when I'm specifically saying Black Friday is a scam, I'm talking about consumer goods. I'm talking about clothing. I'm talking about shoes. I'm talking about unnecessary luxuries. Those are the things I'm talking about. I'm not talking specifically about, and realistically, I should be talking about all of it. I should be talking about all of it and encompassing all of it, because really we can't get away from the fact that we're $1 trillion in credit card debt right now. And it's not really a time that people should be spending money. People should be very frugal with their money. If you have any extra money, you should be, in my personal opinion, buying, assets, things that are going to hold their value. Because really, the only thing worse than holding $1 right now is holding a pair of overvalued shoes or buying some clothes that you didn't need. Why do I wear? You want to know something funny? Here's something funny. Let me go. A lot of people will comment, where do you get your shirts from? You always wear these fancy shirts. These shirts are like $30, $25. I have OCD and I buy like 50 of them. Excuse me. I buy the same shirts, same pants, same shoes. Like to me, it's just a thing I don't want to have to deal with every day. I don't care about my style. I have a shirt that I like. There's a pair of pants that I like. There's a one type of socks that I like. One thing that I did recently, I went into my sock drawer and I got rid of every single pair of socks in there, and I only wear one kind of socks now. That's it. That's the only one I like. That kind. That's the only shirt I like. That kind. That's the way I roll now, because now I don't have to think about it. I know what I'm going to wear because I don't have any options. I like those pants. They work. They're good. I don't need all these different, accessories and all these different things and whatnot. It's funny because people see me wear a Rolex or something like that. I consider that kind of stuff investments. I don't park my money in places where it's just to be showy about it. I don't drive a fancy car. I don't need the fancy things like that, especially at this point in my life right now. And ironically, with my business has been doing really well. Business is growing really well. I'm making, a good living. And the more money I make, the more I grow things, the less I want my overhead to be. I actually am not spending more. I'm spending less today than I was, a year ago. And that's what's funny to me is my goal is to get lower and lower and lower on my cost points of my overhead. And I don't want to buy miscellaneous, consumer goods. To me, I see it as a scam. It's almost as bad of a scam as like Halloween. They really butchered that holiday pretty good, pretty well. Because realistically, it's like, okay, we know one thing for certain, that sugar is really bad for humans. Causes a lot of inflammation, a lot of problems. Yeah, let's give it to our youth at scale. And then let's, force a bunch of it to them to buy a bunch of it. Everyone will have to buy it, or else they're not going to be nice. People are going to knock on their door, and they're not going to give the kids candy that gives them diseases and stuff. Like, oh, that's what a great holiday that was. But Black Friday is up there, is up there as well. And they're both consumer based holidays that I don't really believe in. I think, Thanksgiving's cute. You get together with your family and all of that, and you get to, eat a good meal and everything. Like I could see that. That makes sense. But this whole Black Friday thing, I wanted to go live specifically on Black Friday and talk about why I think it's a scam. And my biggest point is, apart from the fact that we have this much credit card debt, it's insane. I just think that if you can't afford something, it's nice to get a discount. But the thing is, if you can't afford something for the price that it's currently listed at, the price it's listed at should be the right price, because there's so much competition in the world today that in free market capitalism, that should be the price that it sells at. That's the price for that good. Otherwise, it's a subpar good. If it's selling too low and something's higher priced, well, that's a higher quality good, likely. If the price of the item is too low and the competitor can make it even lower than that, well, then you're going to go with the competitor if it's the same quality. If you have two of the same quality items, one of them is going to go lower than the other one, right? So if you have, two t-shirt makers, they make the same t-shirt from the same components, same quality, everything like that, same t-shirts, and they're both selling at $20. One of them is destined to go down to 15 to cut out their competitor. One of them is going to do that. They're going to figure out a way to get it from 20 to 15, and they're going to go after their competitor. So the price is, my argument is that I believe the price should be right. It should be right. And if it's not right, there's something going on there. Whether it's dumping inventory and making way for new inventory, whatever it is, that's what it comes down to. And so I focus more on, can I afford it at the current price? And I don't really want to go out of my way to try to get, a 20% discount, because if I did need to go that far out of my way to go and line up somewhere, wherever it is, if I needed to go and line up around the Apple store or whatever to get, a couple $100 off or whatever it is, maybe I shouldn't have bought it in the first place. Maybe I should go back to the drawing board and figure out how to make more money. That's just my thoughts on it. I just don't really understand the holiday. Now, I see somebody put in the comments right there. We'll get to the comments in a second here. But if you're on Amazon or if you're doing the online thing or whatever, maybe you can take advantage of some stuff. But what I'm saying is it's not a holiday where it's like, oh, I'm so excited to do this. It's amazing. I'm going to just buy a bunch of stuff and I'm going to get discounts. It's like, no, I would just buy a bunch of stuff on any day of the week, 365, any day of the week all year, because if I needed it, I'll buy it. To me, it's just kind of like a forcing consumer behavior model across the board. And this even on like with Amazon or goods online or whatever, the price should be right in the first place. The price of the item should be right in the first place. And if it isn't right, then it wasn't worth it. And there should be a competitor that does price that item right. That's how I look at it. I believe in competition. Why do we even have iPhones? Why do we have these fancy things? Because competition. Apple wanted to knock off Nokia. They didn't want them around anymore, and they won. And guess what? Now you got a supercomputer in your pocket for $800 or $1,000 or whatever. That's what it comes down to. Free market capitalism. Do you think like Black Friday is the reason we got this super? I got the super fancy one this time around. I got the latest iPhone with the fancy camera and all that stuff, right? This phone should have been, I think I paid like $1,500 for the fancy one or whatever. But realistically, this thing should be $1 million. This phone should be $1 million. I've said this a bunch of times in my live streams and all kinds of stuff. Should be $1 million phone. For what this can do, the camera quality, like everything that it's got going for it, it's insane. The quality of this thing is insane. Do you think this exists because of Black Friday? Do you think this phone is $1,500 that should be $1 million because of Black Friday? No, it's that price because of free market capitalism. That's why it's that price. They competed. And now Samsung's competing with them, and they have to come out with the best product, and that's their best product. And they priced it at a price where they thought the market would buy it. It turns out I bought it. If they priced this iPhone at $1,300, I would have still bought it. If they priced this iPhone at $1,800, probably would have still bought it. If they priced this iPhone at $1,000, probably would have still bought it, because it's priced right for how much value it provides me. It's not about whether I got a 10% discount, 20% discount, or whatever it is. To me, if the price is right, the price is right. doesn't, I don't need a day of the year to be pushing it down my throat. That's how I feel about it. Now, this is a controversial subject because there could be situations out there where, someone's been, and the other thing too is what you're buying. I guess you'd have to ask yourself the question of, what is this item doing for me? If you've been wanting the certain TV for this whole time, great, you got a discount on a TV. Now you lost 4 hours a day. What did that do for you? You spent $800, you spend a couple grand or whatever to lose 4 hours a day and be unproductive and get brainwashed by a TV set. Was that going to do a great thing for you? Oh, you really wanted a certain pair of shoes and you have a bunch of other shoes that work perfectly fine. Did that really do something for you? I mean, I just don't understand really what it comes down to. And I don't want to come at this like I'm some sort of well-off individual that just, thinks getting deals is a bad thing. I'm all about, trying to get a deal on something, but I believe in negotiating at the time. And if it's not price right, I'll go elsewhere. Any day of the week, 24/7, 365. I'll go, if this item isn't priced right and it's not providing the value that it's priced at, I'll go somewhere else. I don't need a day of the week to tell me I get 20% off or whatever. So I just don't understand it. But if I was holding out to get a discount on something, for that specific thing, I would at least be asking myself, what does this do for me? What exactly is it gonna help me at? How is this gonna help me get more money? How is this gonna help me be more efficient? This item that I'm buying. Maybe some people in the comments, we'll get to the comments right now, but maybe some people in the comments could say, this is what I was saving up for, and I really saved this whole time to get $2,000 together because I wanted to buy this, MacBook Pro because I have this business idea that I'm going to use that on, and I'm so excited to buy that. I think it's a rare scenario, but if you are that individual, I apologize to you specifically for calling this day a scam. If you're that individual that had it planned out that you were going to buy a specific item that is going to really better your life, and you only had that amount of money that discount provided to get it to that level, that it was going to help you in your life in that way. That's the only individual that it makes sense for, in my personal opinion. Otherwise, it's just a big scam for consumerism. And as you could see by the chart on the left of me, and by the way, this is done in a country. I mean, I guess Black Friday is around the world, but I always like to look at the U.S. debt clock. Now we're at 31 trillion, 300 billion. That's the real number. That's not, the leader's 25 billion, trillion, 100 million, billion, bazillion number. No, really, it's 31 trillion, 300 billion. That's real. And so I guess the model of our leadership makes people do this. That's we go after, people look up to your leaders, I guess, right? That's what the leadership does. 31 trillion in debt, no way out of it really, especially now when you start considering the interest that's going to start accruing. And then you got $1 trillion in credit card debt right in the middle of a time when they're raising rates into a recession. It's all looking dandy and a great time to go buy a new pair of shoes for 20% off. But let's get to some comments. Let's get to some comments. By the way, we could do a quick market update as well. The M2. M2 still, it's ticking up a little bit, but people are sitting on their dollars. So, I mean, in times like this, when M2 is way up here, that means people are throwing their dollars around. But right now, people aren't spending their dollars. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to be spending right now. I'd be wanting to, build a business or do something with my dollars rather than let it just sit there and get burned up by inflation. And I also don't want to spend it on consumer goods right now. So I think the best thing that families could be doing right now when it comes to like the holidays and stuff is saving for, so that they don't have to spend money on a holiday and they can just spend money on days all the time. Like I just don't understand why there has to be like certain days of the year where people dump a bunch of money. It just seems like an odd model to me. But let's get to some comments. I'm going to go to the comments over here. Like maybe some people could say like, this is what I bought on Black Friday. So we can kind of look through this here. Inflation teaches people not to save. I agree. That's what they want. They want it at that beautiful 2% figure just so they can force you in their Keynesian models to go buy stuff. That's what they want. That's their goal. So I totally agree. What's up, Phil? How are you, man? Um, here's an interesting one. Here's one of my someone critical of me. Let's not just talk about with people that agree with me. Let's talk about the worst. Let's say, let's see here. I see Alexander. Alexander says, Rob Logic. Don't buy a used car at a discount because you couldn't afford a new car at full price. No, that's your logic. That is actually not my logic at all. My logic is you and what changes the model from used car to new car? What change? If you're going to buy a used car, you were going to buy a used car in the first place. So under my logic, you go and you buy a new car. That's what you're saying. Because of what I'm saying that Black Friday is a scam. That someone that was buying a used car should go buy a new car when they could have just bought a used car yesterday, or the day before, or the day before that, or tomorrow, or the next day. They could just buy a used car, and it should be the same price. They shouldn't be forced and rushed into making a sale on a used car that they didn't really want. They can spend their time, they can calm down, spend their time, and make the right buy at the right whenever they feel like they should make it. When they find the right car that fits their budget, that works, doesn't change that you need to buy a new one. It's kind of cute how that was like the best. That was the best. That's all you got. That was your best. That was your best one. I triple down. I don't just double down. I triple down. Black Friday's a scam. I triple down. That was the best. That was. Let's see if someone can have a better shot than that. Come on, you got to do better than that. Let me see. It was good for a South Park trilogy. I agree. I agree. It was probably great for that. Adam says, do a kickflip. No problem. Follow me on Instagram. RL Strange says, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu gi at half off was waiting for the sale. I can respect that. I can respect that you like doing jujitsu. Granted, if you really like doing jujitsu, you could have, there's probably a good deal on one somewhere. It depends on what brand of gi you're getting and all of that. But I do know they charge a fortune for that gi. It's kind of, and when I did jujitsu, I don't like the gi idea of jujitsu. I don't like it. I liked rolling when I did mixed martial arts. I liked rolling without the gi, going to the no gi classes. Because the gi, it's like they get you to use the collar to choke you and stuff, and it's like that's not how it would work on the street. It wouldn't work like that. I liked it. It kind of like takes an element out of MMA, in my opinion. Those gis, they get all uncomfortable, and every time you roll, they like undo. And you have to redo it all together and like put it back on, and it's like could have just been wearing a compression shirt and never have to deal with that. That was always the most annoying thing. Like every time you roll with a gi on, all of a sudden it's like it's all over the place. It's just the whole thing. You have to put it back together, make sure you tied everything right again. Then you start rolling again, and then it comes off again, and you got to put it all back on. Never understood the gi thing. So sorry to those in jiu-jitsu, but I think no gi is really what it's at, where it's at. Um, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's not. It depends on what you're getting with it. But realistically, I don't see it as a necessary holiday. I think that whatever the discount is for wherever you're going, it should have been that price in the first place. And if it wasn't the price that was the right price, then the free market will decide otherwise. It will decide what item is priced right and what item will sell right. I just think it's such a you know what it is? It's a fiat holiday and it's a Keynesian holiday. That's what it is in my mind. It's not there's nothing free market about it. There's nothing like really capitalistic about it. There is nothing Austrian economics based about it. It is just a holiday for consumerism and forcing people to make buys at that exact moment where they could have just been focusing on their business model in the first place. I don't understand the holiday. I really don't. Um, but I'm curious. So a lot of people agree with me in the comments. I see I see there's that one person that disagreed with me, but I don't understand um, the logic behind new and used cars. If you're going to buy a used car, you're going to buy a used car. If you're going to buy a new car, you're going to buy a new car. It doesn't change in any way. If you buy a used car, or you buy a used car with a clean title lasts longer, don't buy a salvaged car. Um, when you live in Wyoming and everyone wears a jacket collar to work, but I go to both. Yeah, I guess it could work with a jacket collar. I don't know. I like the no gi stuff because, like, say, like a rear naked chokehold is gonna work 100 times out of 100 times, regardless of what collar they got on them. So it's like I like to train no gi myself, but I can understand it. But you know what I'm saying, RL Strange. You know what I'm saying when I say like every time you roll, you have to constantly put that thing back. Anyway, it's off subject, but I never understood the gi thing myself. Um, yeah. I think that I should also like I should preface it like exactly that I'm directing this towards consumer goods. I'm not directing this towards, buying assets like silver and gold. I'm not directing this on any type of asset of any kind in a way that's an investment. This is not directed towards investments, whether that be an investment in an asset or an investment in yourself. If it's an investment in yourself, and it's an investment that you believe in long term and you can get a discount on it today, and you see a good deal somewhere, great. I see nothing wrong with that. But when it comes down to like forcing consumer behaviors based on the fact that you got 20% off on this specific day, I think it should have been that price in the first place. It should have been that price in the first place. That's how I feel about it. Um, Robert, what's up? Robert Laird in the house says, I've known Black Friday was a scam for years now. I'm with you. I'm with you. I don't think I've ever participated in it. I think one time, maybe when I was like a teenager, I went to a mall and I remember seeing like this crazy show and watching the news tomorrow. Watching the news tomorrow, how many people got in ridiculous fights over like a television set? Got in a ridiculous fight. Like, look it up. There's actually, like, on Google, if you look up, like, people are legitimately fighting over television sets that they probably could have just ordered off Amazon and gotten delivered next day, like 2 weeks ago, for like $10 less or something. Like, it's pretty wild when you think about it. It's pretty unbelievable. Um, I couldn't believe, like, it's almost like a spectacle. Like, it's almost like you go just to be part of a herd. I remember watching in the past, like there was this test where like they got a bunch of humans, put them in a room, and they had like three of them start like standing up and getting down and standing up and getting down in the room. And before they know it, like the whole room, there's only three of them doing it in like a room of 100 or whatever. And all of a sudden, all 100 of them start standing up and getting down, standing up and getting down, standing up. And it's like, I would be the one person sitting in my chair being like, why are people standing up and getting down? I don't understand. And if that makes me weird, if that makes me different, fine, so be it. But I wouldn't stand up if other people were standing up. I would just sit down and just look around and be like, what is wrong with everybody? Why are they doing this? But that's been a real test that they've done many times where if you do the same thing, people have that herd mentality. They act like a hive mind or whatever. And it's kind of crazy. Yeah, Beto says, I've seen those Black Friday fights like animals for a TV. And I'm sure we'll see how many, how many things happened, tomorrow, because they forced this huge like herd type thing. It's just like, it should have, to be honest, the holiday shouldn't exist. The holiday shouldn't exist. If people want to put a discount up tomorrow. Put a discount up a month ago. Put a discount up, a week from now. Put a discount up any day, 365 days in the year. Put up a discount. If you want to sell more of your inventory, put up a discount. There doesn't have to be a holiday for you to put up a discount. Just put up a discount in the first place. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm not gonna say that comment out loud, Andizzle, but that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I'm glad you got the Switch though. I'm glad you got it. Whatever it takes. G Dub in the house with a super chat. I appreciate that, man. He gave me a $10 super chat from G Dub. Says, I purposefully didn't leave the house today. Contrarians unite. That's what I like to see. Appreciate you, G Dub. Thank you, man. Yeah, Alexander. But the thing is, are you gonna wait for if you needed a pair of shoes? I mean, are you gonna wait until there's a holiday to get a pair of shoes? Like you could have. I mean, This isn't like it's going to be $1 today. A pair of shoes that you wanted that might have been $50 or $60, it might be down to $50. It might be down to $40 or something. If you needed a pair of shoes, you couldn't work another hour at your job to get a pair of shoes, or whatever it is that, it's like, it's not, it doesn't make sense to me. And if the shoes need to be priced down for the overall market to be able to afford that pair of shoes, well, then it wasn't priced right in the first place. And there should be a competitor that is priced right, that does have a fair price shoe that people can afford whenever they want them. They don't have to wait a certain day to get a pair of shoes. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I think you just put it into words exactly why I'm making these points here. Uh, I don't know how to pronounce that. CISE9 says when no one shows up for their fake discounts, real pricing will take over. I love that. I love that. I couldn't love that more. It's like, well, you should have. If people actually, stood up for themselves and said, "Look, I don't like these, Best Buys and all these big companies taking advantage of me with these discounts, a certain day to, force old inventory on me. We're not going to show up." What would happen then? Oh, they would have to just price their stuff right. You mean? You mean that like yesterday, the day before, a month ago, they should have just been priced the right price that was, a price where they can make a profit and the market can afford that item? That's what they should have done. Like otherwise, it's like, okay, what does the consumer expect? Does the consumer expect the business to take a loss? Because if your margin is X amount and you could afford to put it at that price and still make a profit, it should have been that price in the first place. But do you expect them to take a loss? Do you want American businesses to lose money so you can get a discount? Is that the goal? Like, what exactly are we getting at? Because I just don't understand the logic behind it. Doesn't make any sense. Wait for Christmas shopping. That's also a huge scam for them to make money. Oh, it's kind of tough because like I don't really celebrate the holidays very much. I don't really have that kind of a family get together type thing. So I don't really, but I do understand, the mentality behind it all. I do get it. Like I can understand Thanksgiving. I can understand Christmas. It's like it's a good holiday to bring families together. That's a good thing. But I just don't understand the forced consumerism approach to things. Um, I just believe in working hard, making sure that the price is right by working hard, and when the price is right, the market will buy that item. Will buy whatever it is that you're selling if the price is right. I just don't think that the market needs to be forced to discount. I think that it just seems to me like a scam to push more product. That's what it seems like to me. So just seems like a good topic to bring up on a live stream. I haven't gone live in a little while on YouTube, and I just felt like basically putting my spin on it. Why I think it's a scam. So far, I haven't seen anybody put a comment that makes me change my mind. I would like if there's a comment that can change my mind on my stance on this. Seems like we're all kind of on the same page. But if there's somebody that can change my mind on it, I would love to read your comment out. Um, I appreciate it, Alexander. Thank you, man. I will be making a lot more videos on YouTube. It's things are starting to level out a little bit where when you start a new business, it takes up a lot of your time and energy. And my auction house started growing really fast. And so it took up a lot of my time. But I am starting to structure things in a certain way where it's more methodical and I have more time freeing up to make more YouTube videos. So I will be making a lot more videos on it as well. Um, Beto is saying that some dealers are sold out and people are having trouble with it. I mean, it really just takes a click of the button to say you're sold out or to crash your website. Like I'm not going to, I don't want to speculate on other companies or anything like that other than my own, other than Mineral Exchange. Mineral Exchange, I will tell you all, it's off. We took this week off because I chose to. That's how I felt. I don't know. I don't really like the Black Friday thing. It doesn't make sense to me personally. I just think that every single day it should be price. But that is really the concept with my company, with Mineral Exchange. Everything starts at zero for a reason. All items start at zero, and the market can decide what that item is worth at that given time that week. That's kind of my business model. So I don't really need a day of the week to say that this is a deal day or something like that. If it goes for a deal, there's been some crazy deals on the website. There's been some really, really good deals, actually, because it's a newer site. But that's what the market was willing to pay at that time. That's how I feel about it. Bite Hunter gave me a super chat. I appreciate that, Bite Hunter. Thank you. This is off topic, but did you hear about female Italian president yelling at France for mining gold in Africa? I did not hear about that. Yeah, I'd have to do some research on that. I'm not familiar on it, but maybe somebody in the comments is more familiar on that. I appreciate the super chat, Bite Hunter. It does seem like Africa gets the bad hand on the bad deal on a lot of this stuff in their country. It's kind of unfair what goes on over there. Not kind of, it is unfair what goes on over there, and it's happened for quite some time. I do know that a lot of the world's precious minerals do come from Africa. Africa is actually one of the wealthiest. The grounds of that country is actually it's very, very wealthy there, but people tend to take advantage of that. Your thoughts are your thoughts, and my thoughts are mine. We each believe in what we want to. John, I like that. I agree. Phil T. So no Black Friday deals on Mineral Exchange this weekend. Black Friday is every day on Mineral Exchange. It all starts at zero. We'll figure out what something's worth. It's a free market every day on Mineral Exchange. Alexander says the whole point of having discounts is to decrease profit margins and increase consumer spending for product X. Yeah, that to me is why it's kind of a scam. So if your goal is to be a thinner margin business at a higher volume, you should have just been doing that in the first place. You needed a holiday to do that. You needed one holiday for the country to say in unison that this is the holiday for you to change your entire business model so you can sell a bunch at a thinner margin. You should have just had that business model in the first place. That would make a lot more sense to me, because you could have just been taking advantage of that this whole time. You needed one day to sell out. What happens to your business tomorrow and the next day and the next day? If you're selling say, you know why Apple doesn't really participate in it? Apple gives a tiny discount, I think, something like that. They don't participate in it because they don't want the market to change the price of their item. Because then what are people going to expect? They're going to expect that same discount tomorrow, the next day, the day after that, the day after that. It damages the overall product because they already came out with the best product that they think they can come out with, and they've priced it at a price that they think it will sell. And so if they change that price dramatically, it changes their business model, and they don't really want to change their business model. And if they did need to change their business model, it wasn't a good business model in the first place. That's what I don't understand. To need one day out of the year to force a change in your business model just doesn't make any sense to me at all. And I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to read the comment and look into it. Someone could change my mind on it. Robert says the large companies are taxed at the end of the year for inventory, so they have to get rid of it to avoid inventory tax. Could be. How about Small Business Saturday, the ones that didn't get crushed by lockdowns and want to give you a deal tomorrow? I like that idea. You know what I heard? I heard one time, the name of the person is escaping me, but he said something along the lines of, you know what the type of person that is really excited for Black Friday and that thing is? It reminds me of a friend that goes, say you bought a restaurant, and you have that one friend that hits you up and go, oh, my buddy Rob bought a restaurant. Let's go down there. My buddy owns it. He'll give us a discount. It's is that really a friend? Is that really a friend if you really think about it? Your friend should be going, my buddy made a restaurant. I'm going to go down there and spend as much as I can afford and leave a big tip because I believe in his business and I believe in my friend. I want to help him. I want to support my friend in their business. But a lot of people tend to have that mentality oh, well, we're friends. We're friends. You should give me a discount because we're friends. It's you're not a friend then. It doesn't make you a friend. To me, it makes you an enemy. You want to take money out of my pocket because I have a business and we happen to be friends? You want a discount on my item at my business because we're friends? What is that all about? You should be supporting your friends. You should be giving them more money. You should be going, hey, that's my friend. I want that business to survive. I want them to do well. I want them to know that they're loved. That's my friend. That's the mentality that I think more people should have is go take care of your friends. Go help your friends. So I like that idea. Somebody just said small business Saturday. That should be a weekly thing. It should be a weekly thing. Go on a small business Saturday, go and support your friends that own a small business. Leave a big tip for their employees. Take care of your friends. Go help your friends. Don't expect a free handout. I'm so anti free handout. I'm so anti, like wanting something for wanting more for less sort of mentality. I believe in working hard. I believe in working hard and getting what you want the right ways. And so just the mentality of it, especially when you realize my logic is sound when I look at the fact that we have record credit card debt. Again, I've shown this chart a bunch of times in this live stream, but I'll show it again. We have M2 at low levels where people aren't spending money right now, but yet, so if M2 is at the lowest levels right now where people aren't spending money, but at the same time, you see record credit card debt. Keep in mind, this is back in, what is this? In 2014, credit card debt it still was pretty high. It was like a little bit under 700 billion, but now we have record credit card debt. Excuse me, even with M2 this low, even when the M2 is this low and people aren't spending money, the lower the M2, the less they're spending money. At the same time, they're not spending money, but credit card debt is at all-time highs. And that's on top of the college debt as well. And so like all these different debts that are around there for people that are just spending money that they don't have, buying things that they can't afford to impress people that they don't like, really. That's the mentality that I think needs to change. I'll pull up with a cheap, beat up car and my skateboard, and I'll feel just as confident as if I did it pulling up in a Ferrari. That's just who I am as a person. It doesn't change my mentality. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that want to buy that consumer good or whatever to make them feel better about themselves and try to impress people that they don't really like in the first place. And that's why we see credit cards up this high. We see people spending money on stuff they don't need. It just doesn't make sense. So that's how I feel about it all, really, if I was just going to break it down. But I just wanted to go live because, oh, by the way, if you follow me on Instagram, I always put in my story when I'm going live. So if you don't get a notification on YouTube, which for some reasons the notifications don't work even when you click the bell sometimes. So it just is what it is sometimes. But if you want to be notified when I do go live on YouTube or when I do make a video on YouTube, just check my stories on Instagram because that is my way to have like another notification in addition to hopefully if it starts working here. But that's like if I click this story right here, it'll show you that I put going live on YouTube or whatever. And you can see my stuff that I post with my business and all the bars and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff is all stuff that's been auctioned on the website. So if you want to check that out, go to my Instagram, Rob Sultan on Instagram. But yeah, that's I'm going to keep looking. We can refresh this Google page here, and I bet eventually it's going to start showing crazy fight goes out. Black Friday disappoints Portland area bargain hunters, retailers. Mall Black Friday, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there we go. There's one of them. There's one of them right there. That's another reason for me to not to participate in Black Friday. I'm not going to recite that out loud, but I think that that'll continue to happen. There's there's security efforts. Oh, because basically that's a great thing over in California, obviously. They do great with people. We got organized retail theft going on for Black Friday because basically these big packed crowds are rushing into places. And it just, the whole mentality of it just blows my mind. They stand in line and get in these big packed crowds to buy things that you can't really afford, but you're trying to get a little discount on it. Why not just work hard, get a little bit more money together, and buy it whenever you want? It doesn't make sense to me. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Bothers me. But maybe I'm just, I'm just crazy. But, I mean, even when I was dead broke, I didn't participate in Black Friday. I just don't. It's always been a holiday I don't understand. I just don't get it. Silver Smurfer says, I used to work retail. F Black Friday and F holiday music. I can totally understand that. I remember when I was a waiter and they played the holiday jingles back. And, oh my God. It would just get stuck in your head and be the worst. see here. They are now testing our trust in their system with carbon credit. Havoc says insane credit card debt and savings accounts are wiped out. We have 300% more debt now than leading up into the '08 crash. Yeah. And what's even crazier, Havoc, what's even crazier, I guess pun intended in your name, is this is the only time that I can find on the federal funds rate chart, like modern in the last, 30 years or 20, 30 years or whatever. Even further than that, I think Paul Volcker was the last person that raised rates like into a recession, but it wasn't even quite into a recession. It was like they caused the recession afterwards. But the fact that we're in a recession right now and they're raising rates into a recession is a complete like paradigm shift, and it's just asking for the market to collapse. Every single realtor that I've talked to, because I'm starting to get friendly with realtors as I expand Mineral Exchange and stuff, we're looking for a new commercial building and all of that. But all of them, if they're being honest, say that real estate's about to crash and it's going to continue to crash. Some people say it already did crash. I think it's just getting started. So probably a bad time to be having a consumer mentality. But that doesn't change. Like I will say, let me say this. I think I said it in a way earlier in this video. If I was to participate on Black Friday, I never would, but if I would, it would be only to buy things that were going to benefit me to make more money, or were going to benefit my health, to benefit my lifestyle, or something that like that is not the same as like a pair of shoes or a pair of clothes or something that like I don't really need. But if it was going to, I think what I should think about is if I'm going to spend $5,000 or I'm going to spend $2,000 here, say I want to spend $2,000. I'm buying something right now for that $2,000 with the intention that it's going to make me $10,000 sometime in the future. If it's not going to make me anything, worse, if it's going to cost me time and money, I don't want it. I don't want it. So that's what I think people should be asking themselves. If I spend X amount of money, is it going to multiply into Y amount of money? That's what I think should be the mentality. But a lot of people, and probably the reason I have no credit card debt, I owe nobody nothing. I have zero debt. Mineral Exchange has zero debt. Bankers love me. They're all trying to get me in debt. But I have none. I don't like debt. I only like debt if I have a plan of action with that debt. And right now I don't have a plan of action with debt. I'm running. I don't need any money. We're fine. But we're nearly $1 trillion in debt. So it tells me people are spending money they don't got. So that's how I feel about it. But if you're buying something and you are planning it out and you know that the thing you're going to buy you got a good deal on a used car or whatever that you were going to buy and you got $1,000 off on it, and today was the day you were going to buy that used car and you got everything lined up exactly right, and that car is going to be for your business and it's going to help you in some way, power to you. Awesome. I still think you could have just found that car and haggled it down to the price you wanted it a month ago. But still, if that's your situation, power to you. Not a change. Super Diddy 555 says, not a change in model is strictly competition. The loss leader is what theory is based on nothing to do with lower margin, but the draw of consumption for regular priced items for increased margins. When you say loss leader, though, I'm very familiar with a loss leader marketer. A loss leader marketer, for those listening right now, would be Cash App. When Cash App first came out, and I'm not sponsored by Cash App, so when Cash App first came out, they were sign up your friends and we'll give you $5. Sign up your friends, we'll give you $10. And a lot of people can have that business model. They were operating at a loss. They were building a business at a loss. That's what they were planning to do. It's not really, if you're not planning to be like a huge tech company, not really the best strategy to have. So if the idea of the mentality of the consumer is, I want these businesses to lose, in order for me to spend money, I want their businesses to lose money and fail. Like, that's kind of crazy to me. Loss leader marketing works really well in the tech space. It works really well when you're trying to raise your valuation of a company like that. But loss leader marketing, it's in the name, loss leader. It means you're operating your business at a loss in order to gain market share. That's loss leader marketing. So yes, I'm very familiar with that. Even though I'm a college dropout, that is a strategy, but I don't think it's a good strategy to want out of American businesses. It's like I want all the restaurants to be, operating at a loss. I want all the clothing companies to be operating at a loss. I want all of this to be operating as a loss. It's like, ah, not everything is a tech startup. Not everything is a tech startup, um, but that to me, it's just like it screams to me like what's wrong with America right now? Is it people wanting stuff for free and not wanting to work for it? People don't want freedom, they want free stuff. That's what they want. They want more free stuff, less freedom. And a lot of them don't understand that the more free stuff they want, the less freedom that they have. So if the businesses start failing, then the government starts intervening. When the government intervenes, then they take away your freedom, and it just happens like that. So in Austria, I believe in Austrian economics, and I believe that if I go to a restaurant, for example, and I had a really good meal, and I thought it was a great meal, I thought the price was right and everything, and they told me I have a 50% margin on that $100 bill right there, I made $50 off of you. I would look at them in the eye and I'd say, call it 120. Here's a $20 tip. You made $70 off me. It was a great meal and I really enjoyed it. That's how I live my life. I feel that way. I don't look at him and go, you made $50 off of me? No, the meal was great, but you made $50 on this 50. You made $50? No, I want that business. It's a good restaurant. I want them to succeed. I want them to make some money. Like, I have no problem with them making money. I love that. The last thing I want is like some government intervention to feed me junk food that I don't want. Like, that's the last thing I want. I want American businesses to prosper. That's how I feel about it. I don't want a discount. I want the thing I want at the price that is good and it makes sense to me, and I will buy it at that price. That's what I want. I don't want no discount. I just want what I want, and if it's not priced right, then I won't want it. That's how I feel about it. Robert Larry says, "Dude, do you skate? Tell us about it." You can go to my Instagram. You can see me skating on my Instagram. But that's just when some people like will say like, "Oh, you probably came from money or you're this and that." I don't have any. I don't celebrate. For Thanksgiving I went skateboarding. That's what I did for Thanksgiving. There was nothing for me to do on Thanksgiving. Just to put it like point blank. Am I sad about it? No. I got to skateboard all day and nobody was there. It was awesome. I loved it. So maybe one day I'll build a family and all of that, but I don't participate in holidays like that. But yeah, when people say like, "Oh, you came from money" or something like that, I don't even have a family. Like, I don't know how I could have came from any of that. But my resume is like, go look at me skate. Go look at me skate. If you can skate and you can skate well, odds are you were a little street mutt at some point. I'm yet to find a really good skater that wasn't at some point somewhat of a street mutt. Um, that's how I feel about it, especially if you're not wearing pads and stuff. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, I love skateboarding. It's something that keeps me sane. I have my own reasons for it, but I don't want to go too far in detail on why I skateboard. But skateboarding makes me it's the only thing that makes me focus, because you're so worried about falling, you're so worried about, hurting yourself, that you have to focus on what you're doing at that time. You're not thinking about the other 100 things that you need to do. You can only focus on that moment. And so for me, it like cures a lot of things with me, where I can finally focus and not think about a million things at once. So yeah, I actually just decided that I'm like, you know what? I'm 29. Like, I can skateboard better than I ever could skateboard. And I was like, had this mentality like, oh, I shouldn't skateboard anymore. I got stuff to do. And it's like, no, I'm going to get better than I ever was. I've decided. I finally, like, I've made the decision that I'm going to be blasting airs probably by New Year's. That's when I'm going to go back to being able to blast airs out of the pool, probably by New Year's. That's the plan. Anyway. Yeah, I love skateboarding. Phil says, I like injury risk minimal. That's funny, Phil. That's funny. Robert Laird says, I've never been in debt except for my first truck. I didn't need to finance, but was convinced to establish credit. I've never had to use credit and don't care about it. That's how they trick us into their system, Robert. You know, they trick us into their system because we got to build credit, and you need to have multiple credit cards that only. And notice, and here's the thing: like, there's 3 classes that I wish I had when I was in college. I went for a couple of years and then I dropped out before getting my associate's degree. And I decided, I'm like, yeah, I don't even want that. I'm 58 units done. I drop out. But before I did that, there was 3 classes I wish they had. I wish they had QuickBooks 101. Knowing how to do your own books, very, very powerful. They don't teach it. Not in high school, not in college. No QuickBooks 101 class. No idea why. It's very needed. I had to take a crash course in it as my business grew. Would have loved that. How to form a company, how to form a corporation, 101. Fantastic class I would have loved to take in college or high school or wherever. They don't have it. They don't teach you how to do it. They might talk about it. They might talk about, like, this is a company, this is that, but they don't tell you how to do it. They just say what it is, sort of thing. So when you take like a business law or something like that, it doesn't go over the logistics of how important it is to form things in a certain way and what things work for a certain. Anyway, would have loved that class. That would have been a fantastic class. Social media marketing 101, fantastic class. There's so many things that I would have do. But anyway, how to build credit 101 is something they should be teaching at 18. They should be teaching that in high school. They should be teaching that in sophomore, junior year of high school. They should be teaching kids how to establish credit, because I had no idea. Here's some things that I didn't know. You guys want to know how to build credit? You have to have multiple credit cards. You set them up on auto pay, and you can't spend more than 10% of their available balance or their available credit. So if you have $1,000 credit card, what they don't tell you is if you want your credit to go up, you can only spend $100 of that 1,000 and then pay it off every month. If you spend 500 of that 1,000, it shows that you spend 50% of your credit, and your credit will go down actually. So you actually, what they don't tell you is you're supposed to get like 5 credit cards and only spend 10% of each credit card and have them all auto paying themselves off every month, which is super annoying and ridiculous. But what you could do is like have a Netflix subscription on one of them, have a subscription to some, a good one would be like Audible or something like that that's going to benefit you, and then just put them on those cards so it spends a little bit less than 10% on them, and then you have them automatically paying so you don't have to look at it all the time. That right there is like so valuable right there. If I knew that, should have known that when I was 18. Didn't know that when I was 18. Had to build my credit like over the last 3 years. But these are things they didn't teach in school, but they try to force us to have that consumer mentality. That's how they force us, because we need credit to be able to buy houses. You need credit to be able to get a car. You need credit for all of these things, and they want to force you into that consumer mentality. Literally, the entire United States economic system, the entire dollar system itself, is designed under a Keynesian model from a person that knew nothing about economics. But this guy, Keynesian, decided that this was the correct model. It literally is the most ridiculous model ever. Milton Friedman called it out. All of them called it out on how ridiculous of a model it was. But they kept going after it. They kept doing it. And their model is literally designed to have a certain inflation level so that you are forced to spend your money. That is literally how it's designed, to entrap you. It's crazy that they will blatantly go out there and say that is why it's designed that way. Yeah, we designed inflation to be at 2% so people don't sit on their dollars. We don't want people sitting on their dollars. The Fed chair will literally go out and say things like that, and nobody questions it. Nobody goes like, wait a minute. Your system is designed to lose value, so you force me to spend my money? You designed it that way from the get-go? When you had the creature from Jekyll Island come out and you designed it that way? You criminals. Sometimes someone asks why talk about skateboarding. Sometimes I skateboard because I know too much now. I want to unknow some things that I know. When you know too much, you want to start doing crazy things so you can just get your mind off of it. Because I know how this plays out, and it's doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Trio Legend says, we don't even follow the Keynesian model. We are even worse than that. I would agree, although the Keynesian model is pretty rough in the first place. But what's crazy is now that they're going to start getting on this. We have 21 trillion in debt. We're going to have to start accruing interest on this debt. It's like where are they going to get this money from? Oh, they're going to hire 87,000 new agents to come and get it. Excuse me. It's just, I just don't like this, the whole impending on freedom sort of thing. That's why I don't want a free handout. I don't want a discount. And this is what I'll end this video on. I don't want a discount from an American company. I want an American company to provide a product at a price that I think is reasonable so I can buy it at that price. And I want to work hard to get it. I don't want a discount. I don't want anything for free. I was just talking today with like some tax planners and like some financial planners and stuff. And I literally tell them, yeah, they go, yeah, we'll give you a free consultation. I go, no, I'll pay you $100 an hour. I just want you at your best. I want you at your best. No, it's a free consultation. No, I will pay you $100 an hour. I want you at your best. I want your best work. I want you to study before we talk. I don't want my time wasted. I don't want to sit there rambling. I want to get to business. I want to pay you for your time. Don't want anything for free. That's just my mentality. If I like the food I'm eating, I tip big, because I want American businesses to prosper. I don't want a discount. That's how I feel. Now, is that weird? Maybe. I don't know. But I just want to see my country building stuff at a good price and building quality stuff at a good price, and people prospering from other people buying stuff at a good price with their businesses, and then going and spending that money in our economy in a way that they feel that they want to spend it. I don't want the government to force us to spend our money. I don't want people to feel forced to spend money on a certain day of the year. I want people to buy stuff that is reasonably priced and they can afford it any given day, any given hour of the year. That's how I feel about it. Anyway, that's the video. That's the live stream. I haven't done one of these in a little while, so I'm a little rusty, but I plan to be making a lot more YouTube videos, and I'm starting to clear out some time in my schedule here where I kind of got things scheduled where I want to do anyway, I don't want to make any promises, but I plan to be doing like 3-4 videos a week, and doing it in certain days and stuff. So I'm starting to get better about writing a schedule and all of that. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I like the stuff that he says about schedule. By the way, if people want to know why I skateboard, read rule number 11 in the 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. He made a specific rule about why we skateboard. Don't bother children when they're skating. I love that rule. I love that whole chapter. It is so on point. It is so true. And I'd argue that the repetition of skateboarding, like I posted a video on my Instagram just from when I went skateboarding on Thanksgiving. Kind of bums me out. Thanksgiving bums me out, to be honest with you. Christmas bums me out because I don't have a family to celebrate it with. So I don't like it. It's not a day where I get excited about it. I don't even really recognize the day until it's the day, and then I'm like, it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to go skateboard. And so that kept me grounded all of these years. Because when I go skateboarding, my mind is just on that one thing. But the repetition and those little wins, when you mess up a trick and you mess up a trick and you mess up a trick and then you finally get that trick, it's like you battled for it and you got it. And that little win, that small win, it just changes your mentality for that entire day, that week even, when you land that certain thing. And then you realize that if I do anything, just like with skateboarding, if I do anything in my life and I do it with repetition, not only do I do it with repetition, but in order to land a trick, you need to do it with intent. If you have the slightest bit, you ever see a snowboarder in the air, they jump and they do the whole wave their arms thing, they roll the windows down and all of that, and then eventually they end up beefing. They eat it hard. It's because they had that slightest little thought that they couldn't do it. In the back of them, I might fall on this jump, boom, they for sure are going to fall. But the person that's like, no, I got this 100%. I've repeated it over and over and over again. I got this 100%. I'm going to jump this. That person rarely falls. And if they do, they don't fall that hard. They get close to sticking it, right? So skateboarding taught me that with life across the board. If I do something with repetition and I do something with intent, I don't see any possible way that I'm not going to get it done. I don't see any way. So if there's an item that I want and I'm doing something with repetition with the intent to get that item, or if there's something that I'm doing with repetition with the intent to do something, I know from skateboarding that I will make it happen. At some given time in the future, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe a year, maybe multiple years, I will make it happen if I repeat the same task over and over again and I have intent while I'm repeating it. And that's what skateboarding taught me. Anyway, if you want to see me skateboard, go to my Instagram. It's like the last shameless plug I'll put up my Instagram, but I'm trying to grow on multiple platforms here because I don't want to be just stuck on only one. But you like the content, shoot me a follow in all those places. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Click the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the like button, I would appreciate if you hit the like button. We got 73 people in here. We can get that like button up a little bit. Maybe we can get some more people to realize that Black Friday is a scam. Unless you don't agree with me. If you don't agree with me, hit the dislike button. That's totally fine too. Anything for the algorithm, even if it's a dislike. John says, we made skateboard in the 1950s by taking your metal skate apart and nailing it to the board. That is some cool stuff. It is some cool stuff. It's definitely progressed over the years. I used to collect stuff like that. I used to have like an old Z-Flex collection and stuff. It bums me out how I lost that. But anyway, like I'm big into skateboarding. It's a big part of my childhood. I used to literally live at the skate park when I was like dead homeless and broke. The only thing that I had was the skate park, and that would change my mind on everything. I knew anything was possible from that. Even when I had nothing, when I was dead broke, if I went to a skate park and I had a skateboard, I was the man. That's how I felt. And so it changed my mentality. And I still think to this day, as somebody that now can wear a fancy Rolex, as somebody now that can pull up in a fancy car with the fancy Rolex and all of that stuff, right? I know that if I couldn't skateboard and I pulled up with a Ferrari and a Rolex on and I looked in the skate park and I saw somebody my age blasting airs out of a pool, I'd be bummed. And I'd be scared to bring my girlfriend around there too if I was in that position. So knowing that, it's like, all right, I'm going to be good at skateboarding. I'm going to be good at skateboarding because no amount of the money in the world makes you feel the same way. It doesn't just, there's something about it. I can't describe it. Anyway, it's better to have both. Better to have both the stuff you want and be able to have some skills as well. But if I had to choose one or the other, I think I'd choose skateboarding 10 out of 10 times because I know that it brought me out of some dark places in the past. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you at the next video. I plan to make a lot more short videos other than live streams. I plan to do like more 10-minute clips, things like that on the channel. So please do subscribe. I will see you at the next video. Signing out.